to a nature center, part classroom, part visitor center, part museum on our property. And if we were able to get this grant, we would be in a great position to actually subsidize or reduce how much more money we have to raise to complete our whole new construction campus project. So in a way, this really becomes the opportunity to invite the public to the Ashokan Center, which, as you said, we used to be part of SUNY New Paltz, which was great, but often closed to the public. And my interest is to welcome more of the public to our property and the great sites and the wonders that we have there, as well as participate in our educational programs. And so we've written this grant proposal to the state. The whole project is about $600,000, of which there has to be a partial match of dollar for dollar. And the Ashokan Center is able to put $150,000 towards that project. The remainder of the money would come from this grant if we were so lucky to get that. And as part of the process of applying, besides the 72 pages of lots of numbers and data and paragraphs about the beauty and benefits of this project, one of the requirements was to get a municipal endorsement from our town with some pretty specific language. I basically cut and pasted it out of the state's website and have it here in the hopes that this board would be so willing to pass such a resolution that we could then use and perhaps if acted on favorably, we could send a notarized copy. That's what I was saying. A notarized copy to the state. So I would be happy to answer any questions, and I don't know if you have the language, but I brought a
If the
copy.
board were to be inclined to pass the resolution, what obligation does that put the town in? Any?
No dollars out at all. It's just, if we get the grant from the state of New York, then we're willing to match all the dollars necessary to get that grant from our own funds. No, there's no strings attached to the town at all.
You know what annoys me a little bit? It has nothing to do with you personally, or your project personally, but I just sat here and listened to the superintendent of schools tell us how the state is cutting aid to education, yet they'll give you $50,000 to build a welcome center. I think that stinks, to be honest with you.
They haven't.
Taxpayers' dollars. Taxpayers' dollars. We're not talking about money that came from God.
No, and I haven't
We're
gotten
talking about
money
money that came out of people's pockets.
No,
To build a welcome center
Yeah.
instead of giving it to education. To me, I don't get it.
It's called special interest.
Who are we welcoming?
Small visitors.
I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't get it.
May I ask a question? Between language like that and the comprehensive plan, I know how to walk out the door barefoot, step on grass, look at a pond, identify a bird, catch a fish, or shoot a deer. This constant new concept of welcome centers, kiosks, education, we're not morons. We know how to walk outside. It's a very nice place. But state money is our money. It ain't free. Those are the old days. And I just think anything with a dollar sign on it, whether it's coming from federal, whether we're supporting the public housing hoodlums who are going to get their 8% every time they plot some big housing section in all these rural areas and disrupt the school systems and everything else. I say it's austerity time. You seem like a lovely gentleman, but I've had it, and I appreciate Mr. Lamonda's input.
Could I just say one thing?
Yeah, sure. I'm not trying to pick on you. It's just a thing that
I don't feel picked on at all, because in a way I agree with you. However, the state had consolidated some $13 million across all the agencies that give out money.
It's our money.
I understand, and we saw this opportunity as a way to do something very important for a local educational resource here in
Educating
the town.
what?
Well, I mean, maybe you're not familiar with the Ashokan Center.
How about the school district?
The Ashokan Center serves about 5,000 kids per year, half of whom come from the greater watershed area here to come for residential experiences of the Ashokan Center, being environmental education, living history, and colonial craft making. The other half come from New York City. We serve adults in retreat programs throughout the year, weekends and in the summer. And we're a standalone nonprofit organization over in Olive Bridge. And the opportunity to basically this money was made available. We don't have the grant, I don't have the money. I simply applied in a competitive process to go get this money to bring to our town to build a facility that will benefit not only the Ashokan Center, but all the people that hopefully will use that facility. As I said, historically and traditionally, the Ashokan Center has been kind of a closed institution. If you weren't part of a program, for the most part, you didn't get to come there. Our objective here is to open up the 374 acres that is the Ashokan Center in the midst of a construction project that we didn't actually go ask to do, but because of the water releases that are happening from the reservoir, we are stuck in the middle of this floodplain. We are building this new facility, and one of the ways that I can try to figure out how to fund the shortfall that I have in the basically now $1.3 million shortfall is to apply for this grant, which is what we've done. And the opportunity to be competitive with other places all across the state of New York, I think it's a good thing. And so, again, there's no dollars out on the town side. I understand that the taxpayers' dollars, they're my dollars just like they are your dollars that are now available, and we submitted this proposal in hopes that we could get it.
Young lady in the back.
No offense, Bruce, but I think that this is not quite as black and white as is being made out by some of the comments now. And you, in fact, talked about the benefits of homeschooling. I know a lot of people who homeschool their children, and they use the Ashokan Center a lot. It's a wonderful resource for them. I don't think that the answer to either our financial problems, our school problems, our enrollment problems is stagnating the town. We're very limited as it is in what can be built in Olive and what we can attract to Olive to attract people. And I think that it would be very short-sighted to not take advantage of one of the few resources that we have that can appeal to people outside of Olive. And whether it's going to cause people to move in, I don't know. Is it going to cause people to come here? I don't know, but we're never going to find out if we sit here and complain about the state, which is certainly out of our control. I think that it sounds like a great thing, and in fact, I've attended board meetings, Board of Ed meetings with Dr. McGill and other meetings, and she talked about how project-based learning has been used in other school districts to wonderful positive effect. Is it something we can implement in our school with our school resources? Probably not, because it sounds very expensive. Is it something that can be done with outside agencies that are perhaps will help with these problems that we're facing? I think that there's a good possibility that it will.
Excuse me, there's a difference between attracting money towards something. You attract money, that's the free market. That's one of the reasons I took my kid out of school, because he learned about the free market when he got out of the public school system, as opposed to extracting money from non-willing participants, which is going on in every single aspect of this society, which is why it's falling apart. And if we keep doing all these lovely things where we extract money instead of attracting money, if you people want to earn your money and do this, that's just fine. But when you're talking about extracting money from non-willing participants and putting flowery words all around it, we're a stressed out community. I'm not caring about attracting other people. If somebody wants to earn money through concerts and attract money, that's fine. But it's time in this society we draw the line on extracting money, because we're going to turn out like grease and we're cannibalizing ourselves. So the pretty words and all this stuff, it's not registering with me anymore.
Rebecca, if I could just answer that. I know, as I sit here, that if this gentleman doesn't get his $50,000, it's not going to go back in the taxpayer's pocket. Somebody's going to get it. So I'd rather see him get it than somebody else. I just want to make a statement that I'm getting tired of the state, and I'm really addressing this more to the state than this audience, and I hope somebody puts it in the paper that I am, that I'm tired of them cutting education and giving money for someplace else.
Well, I agree with you.
But I understand that there's
This was
X
the
millions of dollars out there
point
that's going to be given away, and I'd rather see it come to Olive than to Woodstock.
At some point, it's a moral decision to stop going for state money. At some point, it becomes a moral decision where everyone tries to grab and grab and grab, and then we all go down and sink. The ship is sinking.
Okay, let's keep a little order here. This young man has been trying to say something for the last 10 minutes. Would you go for it? You, yeah.
Okay. It was mentioned that this center is